Have you ever asked, why do I feel this? Why do I feel overwhelmed? Overwhelmed is the state of feeling buried or drowned beneath a huge mass or just defeated completely. We are defeated, we're paralyzed, and yet there is hope for feeling overwhelmed. This is Cultured, where we talk about how culture impacts young professionals. And today we're going to talk about the feeling of being overwhelmed. So many young professionals, I hear more and more, I feel overwhelmed. Tim, Molly, why do you guys think so many people feel overwhelmed right now?
I think with COVID, we've had some definite cultural shifts where we went from working at home, not having as much on our plate, and then we went through this process of now coming back to work. And I think it's been so easy to take on so many things so quickly because we're so excited to be back in the game, right? And so for me, even personally, it's brought on a feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, I feel like when we came out of COVID, there were probably some bad habits that were built, and there were some parts of our lives that were like, okay, the rhythms changed, the way that we woke up in the mornings, our jobs, our relationships, our careers, everything just kind of created this overwhelming feeling of overwhelmingness.
Yeah.
So we want to talk in 3 videos on work, on relationships and habits, and how we can feel overwhelmed. So the first thing we're going to talk about is just being overworked and overwhelmed. Like, what are times in your life where in your career you have just felt this weight of being overwhelmed?
I think a time for me is I don't do well with change. So just when I've gone through changes like with my organization and my role, I think I felt overwhelmed. And it's not because my workload increased. It was this emotional feeling of not quite knowing what I was supposed to be doing. So I felt overwhelmed.
Yeah. I think for me, where my task list becomes like so full of things that I don't like to do, it feels like this huge weight. Even when it isn't that much to do, it's just, I don't want to do it. And it just feels, again, like this weight pushing down on me.
Yeah, like there's some tasks that give you life, but then there's others that just pull it away from you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think that I feel overwhelmed sometimes when I just have so much stuff going on and I say yes to everything and I don't know what's important and I don't know what the priority is.
So why do you guys think we carry this feeling of being overwhelmed in our work? Why do we feel this in work?
You know, I think one reason is like from the time that we are kids, like we are instantly just like thrust into performance culture. Like sports, academics, college, I mean, pretty much our entire adult lives until we actually start in the workforce, like we are performing. And so what ends up happening is we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people and we just feel this desire to like go more, strive more, do more, and it just leads to like anxiety.
Yeah. So in that, as we talk, we want to give some practical tips as we talk through Cultured and how it impacts us and the culture on us as young professionals. What are some just tips or takeaways that you would tell people to, how do we not be overwhelmed anymore at work? What would we do?
Yeah. One thing I can think of is someone told me this. If something takes less than 3 minutes, don't put it on your to-do list. Do it right away. And I have lived by that, and it has helped me so much.
You'll hear any talk will talk about, okay, make a priority list. Like, yeah, we should make priorities, but I think that it's important to prioritize what's truly important to you. And think about like date nights, working out, reading, taking naps. Like those are all things that if we don't schedule them and actually put them in our calendar, oftentimes we won't do it.
Yeah.
And if we don't do it, that's actually the things that refresh us, causing us to be overwhelmed, and then it adds up. It's like we keep going, and that weight of being overwhelmed continually goes more and more and more.
Yeah. I think one last thing is just prepare to work. So get in a rhythm in the mornings before you go to work to mentally prepare yourself to engage and to get in work mode and give your all. So when you're there, you are 100% focused. You're not on social media being distracted by text. Give yourself fully to what you're doing, which I think is really hard in our society because we are such a distracted culture. But give yourself fully to your work. Be present when you're there. So then when you leave, you can turn it off and you can know you've given your all. You've got what you've got, how to get done for the day.
One of the things that's really helped me is define my green zones. What I mean by this is, when are the times of day that I'm most effective? Because I can work for 8 hours, but it doesn't mean all 8 hours are that beneficial to my work. I can be really not get much done, but there's these 2 hour, 3 hour chunks, which people call their green zone. So like my green zone really is that 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I can get so much done. I can get 8 hours of work done and efficiently if I work hard and keep that open. So I schedule my time around where I can keep that open to work on the things that are most pressing, not even most pressing, actually most important.
Well, and what I'll do sometimes too is in my red zone, which is in the evenings, like 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock is when I'll actually schedule time with people, because I'm not as intentionally focused, but I can still be present with people, and it actually gives me life and energy.
I thought you were going to say you just didn't want to give your best to people. Thanks, Tim. Giving me 3 o'clock.
That makes sense now.
Okay, so as you guys think of how can God actually help us in our work and feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah. There's a verse that I want to share. It's in Matthew 11, 28 through 30. It says this: "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light."
When I hear that verse, it just gives me peace.
Yeah.
Like that should be the verse that we read before we go to bed every single night. And I think that there is just this reality of there is a lightness and a peacefulness that comes when we walk with Jesus. So it actually talks about a yoke in that
That's a
verse.
weird word. What is a yoke?
Yeah, so what a yoke actually refers to is way back in the day when fields used to be plowed by animals, they would attach the yoke. It's like a massive board on top of the oxen's neck so that both of the two oxen would run at the same pace and they would be aligned. So it'd be like if you and I were like running this way, right? And what it would do though is it would make sure that they ran at the exact same pace. And so in the same way, like Jesus has a pace of life for our lives. Like he had a way an intention for how we were supposed to live our lives. And so when we take his yoke upon us, there is a rhythm and there is a grace and there's a peacefulness that comes with it that is, in my opinion, irreplaceable.
And I think it's a lot of people replace like, oh, I need peace, I need rest. And it's not meaning laziness.
Yeah.
Because laziness, have you ever been overwhelmed in work and you just go, I'm going to be lazy? It doesn't actually help.
You don't feel
rest
refreshed.
is very different than laziness.
A Netflix binge never does what you so nobly hope it's going to do for you.
Yes.
And I've even found that with vacations. Like sometimes you'll go on a vacation with friends and you're out doing stuff from like morning till late at night. And you come home on Monday morning like exhausted. And you pick up right where you left off at work. And it just, what are the things in your life that actually bring you rest and pursue those things?
And Jesus says when we actually go at his pace with him, connected with him, we then feel this rest. And I think that really comes from so many of us want to control our lives. We want to go at our own rate, our own pace, do our own thing. And honestly, when you try to control your life, the problems of your life will magnify. They will get bigger and you will feel more overwhelmed. But when you release control and you give it to God, what Jesus says is that then you will find a light yoke on you. He will take it from you. He will give you rest. He will give you peace.
Thanks so much for watching The Brook Online. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and be sure to download the Brook app so you can stay up to date with all the new media as well as all the new events we've got coming up every single week.